What's up again there, viewers? Brian here at 3TR, and welcome to episode 29 of the People's Questions. Before I get into your guys' questions, I would first off like to congratulate the winner of last Friday's contest question, who is not only a newbie at this contest, but a newbie for 3TR, Media World 01, who also has his own channel, kind of does what I do, but I'd just like to congratulate you on your first and probably maybe the first of many victories. And you got the question right as for what were my probably going to be my three top movies by the end of 2012, and you guessed correctly of it being Dark Knight Rises as always, 007 Skyfall, which you were the only one to get correctly, and Red Tails, which I was a little surprised that any of you guys got it. So congratulations on your victory. I've already sent you your $20 PlayStation Network card, and hopefully you will spend it well, even though I know the little issue that we had. Anyway, not only did Media World 01 get the contest question correctly, he also sent the most questions, and I actually got only a couple new ones this time, so let's get into them. Media World 01's first question to me was, what were my thoughts on the season finale of Smallville, despite the fact that, Lex Luthor's resurrection and Darkseid being the main villain? I'll be honest, I wasn't too into the Smallville show towards the final season, simply because I felt that they were doing a bit too much with Clark Kent than they should have. I always thought the Smallville was a good way to tell Superman's story before he became Superman, but the fact that over the course of the series it got more and more crazier to the point where it's like, it's getting a little too crazy for me, and he doesn't even have the cape yet. I mean, this would have worked perfectly fine if he was Superman at the time, but he's just Clark Kent. So, and I just wasn't buying it towards the end, and it just got really way over the top, so I kind of lost interest in it. But I did think it was a solid ending, but not quite the rise of Superman that I would have wanted to have seen. And your second question was, what storyline and cast members would I like to see for the XFiles 3 movie should it ever come out? Well, obviously we got to get our two main stars back together. However, this time, the storyline that I would like them to do would be a little bit similar to the first movie, because the first movie was actually a really well done alien invasion story, and they actually had aliens and they had a spacecraft. This was something we hadn't really seen much in the show. And then when we got the second one, which is called X-Files, I Want to Believe, I felt like they were trying to go in a direction that this really would have worked in the show. However, I thought it was wasted opportunity because it was a movie. When you have a TV show and you do a movie for it, then there's always that need to take the next step and make sure it's above the show. But the storyline that I felt that they were doing was sounded like a typical episode with some side drama with like this kid who has some type of disease and is killing him and they want to get rid of him. I just thought it was just a bunch of wasted opportunities. So if they ever do decide to do a third movie, go back to aliens, and perhaps maybe Mulder and Scully will finally be able to expose that aliens do exist and make probably the greatest discovery. Sorry if you guys hear wind, and a jet's about to fly through. Probably the greatest F-22 Raptor. Sorry. They'll probably make the greatest humanized discovery of extraterrestrial life in their world. So that's what I'd like to see for the X-Files movie. Your third question was, am I excited for the two seasons of finale seasons of Dexter? And I have to be honest, I've never seen Dexter. I do not have HBO, so I've never even had a chance to watch Dexter. And although I think a couple of seasons are accessible on my Netflix, I simply have not had time to watch any episodes of Dexter myself. So I can't really put an opinion on it. I don't know what the story is about. I don't know how this character has developed over time, so I really can't answer that question. But I'm sure if you're interested in it, it's probably something I should get into as soon as possible. And your last question was actually my favorite of yours, and you wanted to know, what game would I like to see on the big screen and why? There's only one game series I can think of that, although has not hit the big screen, they have made two movies for, and I think we need to see a live-action version of this, and that's for the Dead Space series. In my opinion, Dead Space is doing what Resident Evil has been trying to do for, I'd say, the last 5 years and has constantly failed. Resident Evil has gone strictly action and forgotten the horror aspect. It doesn't have that creepy atmosphere. It looks like they're going to try to get it back with Resident Evil 6, but we'll have to see. But with Dead Space, I absolutely love the entire world of the unitology and the unitologist and how the necromorphs work and how the marker is kind of man-made but kind of alien, but this is how it reanimates the cells and changes them into a new organism. And I think Isaac's a very unlikely character because he's not a soldier, he's a simple engineer, but over the course of 2 games he's gotten excessively good at killing necromorphs. But the film that I would like to see a Dead Space do is do it like the 2 animated films, which are Dead Space Downfall and Dead Space Afterlife, which are playing on Netflix, and you guys definitely should check them out because that is how you do an animated movie. You have the story take place either before or after the events of the game and actually lead on to what will happen in the next game. And that's how I think live action movies should do. You shouldn't simply try to retell the story of the game that we already know. Tell a story that takes place in the same world, but lead into the next adventure, or explain things that weren't explained in the game that it's leading up to. That's how I think live action movies should work, and that is, at this point in time, the only franchise I want to see a live action movie for. And now on to another new subscriber of mine. It goes by the name of Criticism Guy 2009, which I think is a really interesting name, and you have 2 questions. One I can't answer, but you'll understand why, and one that I thought was pretty interesting. And your first question that you wanted to know was, do I think the Xbox 720 and PlayStation 4 will be released in the nearby future? Well, with the Wii U coming out soon, I'm pretty sure we will hear or officially see the design or exactly what type of engine power we will see for both these consoles by next year's E3 for sure. I don't think it's going to be released in 2013, but perhaps we might be able to see it in 2014, 15 for sure. Rumors have spread across the internet that there are a couple people development companies that have already seen both these systems and are making plans for them. I'm not sure if that's a rumor or not, but I definitely think we will see something of it soon. However, I don't think we will get our hands on it until 2014 or 2015. And your second question was, what is my favorite game for the 360 and the PlayStation 3? I will give you my answer for the Xbox 360 because, unfortunately, I don't have an Xbox 360. But if I did, the only game I would buy it for is Dance Central. So I guess in that class, that would be my favorite game for 360, even though I haven't played it myself. However, I will give you a list of my favorite games on all the consoles and handhelds I have owned over the course of my life. Starting with the beginning, which was I had a Game Boy Pocket, and my favorite game on that was Super Mario Land. And then Nintendo 64, which was Super Mario 64. And then Game Boy Color was Pokemon Yellow. And then Game Boy Advance was Yu-Gi-Oh! World Tournament Edition. And then I had I can't even tell you that one. I had a GameCube for a little bit, but I didn't like it all that much, but I gave it up. But my favorite game on there was Star Wars Rogue Squadron. And that's about it. But I'm going to get into the PlayStation ones later because that is actually going to be my contest question. And with that is all the questions I have for this episode. Thank you, Criticism Guy 2009 and Media World 01 for sending me these questions. They were absolutely great. But now let's get on to the contest question because last episode was by far my most successful episode of all time, and I want to keep the roll going. Now, Criticism Guy 2009 wanted to know my favorite PlayStation 3 game, but unfortunately I cannot tell you because that is going to be part of this week's Friday's contest question. And I simply want all of you to try to figure out, for all 3 generations of PlayStation, what was my favorite game, which means what was my favorite game for PlayStation 1, 2, and 3. Now I've actually left a specific clue in the descriptions down below that is basically one of my favorite lines in each of these games, and that is the only clue I will give. Now again, like last episode, all of you will have only 3 guesses per person, so think carefully about what the answers could be, because some could throw you off, and maybe you can look at other people's answers and maybe they'll help you out. And if you happen to get all 3 answers correctly, be sure to post them either in the comments down below or send them to my personal PlayStation Network ID, which you will see at the end of the video. And you will have your choice of getting either a $20 PlayStation Network card or an Xbox points card. And like always, if you like this video, please like, comment down below, and subscribe to tap to keep track of me and my future videos. And good luck to all of you out there. And before I shut off, I would just like to give a special shout out thanks to one of my favorite all-time characters in media, because I just saw this movie again after some time, and now I remember why I loved it so much. And this character goes by the name of V from the movie Vendetta. So I know he doesn't exist, but it's just something I feel like doing. You are by far one of the wisest characters I have ever met in my life, and it's a shame you just don't exist, because I think we could have a pretty interesting conversation. So thank you, V, for all the inspiration, ideas, and advice that you gave me while watching V for Vendetta. And like always, thank you for watching, and I will see you next time.